we are going to deconstruct the formula for how to find your personal jackpot for each of these individual areas. It is like rigging the lottery. That's what this video is essentially going to give you. It is going to be the rigging the lottery version of you finding your social media jackpot success. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and this channel is all about becoming the coolest person that you know so that you can live an extraordinary life, and if you choose to do so, build an extraordinary business. And this video is actually another video in my Becoming Influential AF series, which is a series where I teach you all about building an audience online, becoming influential, becoming a leader in your space, and getting paid to be you. This video is going to be probably the only video that you are ever going to need to watch if you are someone who wants to become influential online, blow up on social media, because I am going to be giving you the exact formula for every single little element that you need to nail down in order to build your own personal blueprint towards success. Where this video was actually birthed out of is that I, like you, just feel like when it comes to social media success, there are a few different pathways towards getting there. For some people, it honestly feels like they hit the social media success jackpot. Like, do you ever just look at some people who are like blowing up online? It seems like they came out of nowhere, and it also kind of seems like they don't even know what they're doing. Like, they just hit the jackpot. The stars aligned, their lucky girl syndrome kicked in. And I'm not saying they don't have talent or skills or expertise or anything like that. I'm just talking about, like, for them to go so large and to build so much success, like, it just feels like they hit the social media jackpot. But then on the other hand, some people who become successful, you can see that they did so through rigorous posting, testing, iterating. Like, for example, the differences between these two types of people is, like, I would say an Alex Earle. So Alex Earle, if you don't know, she has blown up on TikTok. She's the host of the Hot Mess podcast, and she has just found a formula, found a type of content, found a way of showing up online that was completely magnetizing towards people. And her exponential curve of growth is absolutely massive. But it also just feels like she was extremely self-aware. I'm not saying she didn't look at analytics. I'm saying she just did the content that she knew was best suited for her, and it worked. On the other hand, there are people like Mr. Beast, for example, who also build these huge brands, become ultra successful on social media, but they do so through rigorous testing, looking at the analytics, really putting things out, A/B testing, figuring out what the audience likes, rolling with things that they like, cutting things that they don't like. And there is a lot that actually goes into that type of growth. So whether or not some people hit the jackpot or whether they get there through super analytical testing, they build massive success for themselves. And in this video, I actually want to give you a third option. I want to give you like the backdoor option, because there is another way, and it is working smarter, not harder, without necessarily needing to be lucky and waiting for the stars to align. It is reverse engineering. It is looking at all of the components that makes somebody successful, and today we're particularly going to be focusing on becoming a content creator and blowing up on social media. We are going to deconstruct the formula, and I'm going to give you advice for how to find your personal jackpot for each of these individual areas. It is like rigging the lottery. That's what this video is essentially going to give you. It is going to be the rigging the lottery version of you finding your social media jackpot success. Because when it comes to becoming successful, when people say it's like the stars align, what they actually mean is all of the elements, all of the components that contribute to somebody's success in any area, they all become into alignment. And I personally think when it comes to social media, so much of what this channel is about, why I teach on the psychology of social media success, why I actually teach strategies that nobody else teaches, is because I actually believe that we all have a personal blueprint towards success. And for those of us who do desire social media success, we all have a personal blueprint, meaning there is a specific way, a specific component, a specific recipe for each of us that will lead to mega success, mega star success on social media. For sure, you can do what a lot of people do. You can just go copy somebody else. Like, we've seen this all over YouTube, the Mr. Beastification of YouTube. There are lots of people out there who just copied. They let Jimmy do the work and then they just copied exactly what he did. And many times that actually works, provided you've got some similarities in, let's say, like personality traits, sometimes even look. Yes, you can absolutely mimic what somebody else is doing. Is it sustainable? Probably not. Because as soon as that person isn't constantly leaking you exactly what you need to do, you've got no creativity and skill, and you're going to find yourself struggling. Is it fulfilling? Definitely not. I feel like when we find our own personal way of achieving success in any area of life, it is the most fulfilling thing that we can possibly do. Like, we will enjoy our success so much more when we know it's right for us. And also, because it does take a little bit of time and patience and effort in order to get to be successful, when you find a way to do it that is totally designed around you and your soul's destiny, if you want to call it that, you will also find the journey enjoyable, meaning that you're not going to feel so frustrated and like giving up at every single challenge. So yes, I do think that absolutely every single person has a personal blueprint towards major, massive success on any platform, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, it doesn't matter, but let's get into exactly what that formula is. So there are going to be 7 different things we're going to be going through in this video. I've tried to keep it as high level as possible. With this stuff, you can get pretty granular, but I've tried to keep it as high level as possible so you can start experimenting with these 7 things. But there is a bonus 8th thing at the end of this video, so make sure you stick around for that because I honestly think that one is the most important thing that you need to work on. So the first ingredient to the recipe of hitting the jackpot when it comes to social media is simply you have to figure out what type of content to create. There are so many different types of content that you can create. And hitting the jackpot with social media, i.e. blowing up, i.e. becoming really successful, is going to happen when you find the type of content that is best suited to you, to your personality, to your natural skill set. I actually created an entire system to help you do this, and I have a quiz that is linked in the description that you can actually take. It's called the Creator Archetype System. There are many different archetypes of creators. There's educational creators, entertaining creators, relationship-based creators, lifestyle creators, and when you figure out the type of archetype you are, what you'll actually do is you'll figure out the type of content you should be creating. For example, those who are an educator archetype, they do really well when they're creating, let's say, demonstration content, or they're answering questions. They're taking a problem and they're advising on a solution to that problem, and going beyond that. Those educators do really well when they create online courses. It's not just social media that you can use this system for. It's actually how to monetize yourself as a creator and what type of business is going to be your jackpot business, but maybe that's another video for another day. Today we're focusing on becoming influential and building an audience. But the first component, the first ingredients in this jackpot formula is you really need to figure out the type of content that is best going to suit you. Here's the thing, when it comes to people like Alex Earl, Mr. Beast, or anyone else who has really blown up on social media, what you'll actually notice is the reason why they blew up is because they had somewhat of like a signature series. They had some type of content that they repeated over and over and over and over again, obviously with different ideas and different concepts, but the actual format and the platform of the content that they were creating on was ultra consistent. And so that type of content was their jackpot type of content. And so you need to figure out for you the type of content that is best going to suit your personality and your natural skill set. Which brings me to this second piece of this jackpot formula, and this one's kind of easy once you know step 1. You need to figure out what platform to create on. I personally believe that you don't have to be on every single platform to blow up on social media. Later on, when you're a huge megastar, you'll probably diversify and actually redistribute your content across multiple platforms. But in order to blow up on social media, you really should just be prioritizing and focusing on one. If you're someone like me who's maybe more of a speaker, I am way too long-winded to be on TikTok. Trust me, I have tried tried to be helpful, valuable on TikTok, but I simply just cannot get my words out in that short, snappy amount of time. And so a platform like YouTube actually fits me better. Maybe you're someone who is very aesthetic. You're more of like a lifestyle creator, and the visual aspect is really important. Like, you're then not going to go and start a podcast that like wouldn't make sense. So YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram, those platforms are going to suit your archetype much more and help you with this success formula. And of course, the third part of this jackpot recipe, jackpot formula is of course figuring out your topic, your niche, your audience, whatever it is that you want to talk about and who you want to talk to. This is really important as well. Those who do blow up, like Mr. Beast, like Alex Earl, anyone else who's found major success, they aren't creating 15 different topics. They aren't creating on 15 different topics. They aren't speaking to 12 different audiences. They're creating, again, a similar type of content, speaking about similar things for a similar type of audience. I'm not saying you need to be ultra specific and only speak about one thing, but you need to figure out the people that you are going to relate to most and why they would care about you. I know that seems like a difficult thing to do, but you have to figure out what it is that people want from you, what it is that people are magnetized to you for. Something that you can actually think about is like, ask your friends, ask your loved ones, ask the people in your life. If they could describe you in one word, what word would they use to describe you? If they were going to come to you for advice or for an experience, what would that experience be? 100% I know if I was to ask people in my life, what would you come to me for? They would be like, that expansion, that inspiration, the motivation. And because I have a speaker archetype and I'm long-winded, that's already putting those pieces of the puzzle together for me. Like, I'm here to inspire and activate people. I just want to say this here because it's not going to resonate with everyone, and that's absolutely fine. But for those of you who are a little more spiritually inclined, you can actually find the answers to a lot of these pieces of our success recipe in astrology, in human design. I mean, you can find the answers to a lot of these questions by going on a self-discovery path, but astrology actually has a lot of the answers to these questions. So for example, your mission here on this planet, the things that people gravitate towards you because of, all of this can be found in your astrology birth chart. But again, if that doesn't resonate, please don't turn off this video. It's just an option for those people who want to explore that pathway as well. Now, the fourth part of your jackpot formula is going to be the aesthetic of your content, of your brand. And honestly, I think this one is incredibly important. Trust me, as someone who changes their aesthetic more often than I have hot dinners, I know that there are certain ways that I dress myself, certain scenes in which I create my content that really do have an effect. Even like my thumbnails here on YouTube, I can absolutely show you the data that there is a certain vibe or a certain aesthetic that is more likely for me to blow up. If you looked at all my 1 million+ reels on Instagram, they all have like a relatively similar aesthetic, a similar color scheme, a similar vibe. I think that when you can tap into the aesthetic, the vibe that is not influenced by what you think is cool, by what you think is trending, by what everybody else around you is doing, but rather the aesthetic that is most likely to represent your soul, your personality, who you truly are, the aesthetic that is in most alignment with your natural state of being, that is the aesthetic and the brand vibe that will essentially help you hit the jackpot. Aesthetics are very important when it comes to getting noticed on social media. The thumbnail, the way it looks, the video when somebody clicks on it on Instagram, the backdrop in which you're recording your reels, the style that you're wearing in your Instagram content, the environment in which you're sitting in your TikTok videos. Like, this is what hooks people in even before they hear you say a word or you have any little written text on the screen. Like, it's the way that it looks that appeals to somebody's subconscious mind. I guarantee you that if you were to pay attention to the things that you clicked on or that you watched for longer than 3 seconds on any of the platforms, they would all have a relatively similar aesthetic or vibe, because we just naturally gravitate towards things that we're interested in aesthetically, or things that feel familiar, or things that feel comfortable, or things that feel aspirational. And so something that I teach inside my program, Influential hustle AF is like, if you really, really, really want to get seen by your ideal audience, you need to make your aesthetic of your content look like their vision board, because when you do, they will pay attention to you because they want that stuff. And so when you can be the fullest expression of the aesthetic or the vibe that is most in alignment with you, and again, I don't mean this video to like turn into like some kind of like astrology things. I'm not an astrologer. I'm only new to this stuff myself as well. But I made a video on dressing like my Venus sign. And I know that when I'm wearing a certain style, like it just clicks for people. I just get so much more engagement. So you also can kind of maybe find your aesthetic using astrology as well. But if not, experiment or really just know thyself. Like the more that you are, again, not being influenced by trends, but rather you are really dressing in a way, styling your life in a way that is truly, truly the way that lights you up the most, that is absolutely going to hit so much deeper than just trying to dress with what's cool. Now, this is a really important one. And honestly, I have not heard very many people talk about this when it comes to content creation, when it comes to getting noticed on social media, and particularly getting engagement. But this is another part of your jackpot formula. You need to test, and it's good because there aren't very many ways in which you can test this, but you need to test the point of view in which you are speaking from. When you are creating content, what is your point of view? Who is the hero in the story that you're telling? Because for those of you who are relationship-based creators, lifestyle creators, you're speaking about yourself. You're the point of view. The lens is on you. The spotlight is on you. Even though with relationship-based creators, you're activating the parasocial relationship and you're making people feel seen, heard, and connected, you are still the focal point of the content. Whereas educators are speaking to the audience. The audience is the hero in the story that they are telling. When I create content and I use the word I versus use the word you, it is much more likely to actually perform well in my YouTube thumbnails, in my titles, but particularly over on Instagram, because I, as an archetype, am a speaker and a relationship-based creator. Those are my two archetypes. On YouTube, I primarily show up as a speaker. I've tried to do lots of different types of content, but if you looked at all my top performing content, it is me sitting here like this talking to you. But whereas on Instagram, I'm more of a relationship-based creator. So when I'm creating reels, I tell a story about my own journey in the captions. That content is much more likely to actually perform well. And so again, you can only really test the two options. Are you speaking focusing on the audience, or are you speaking focusing on yourself? But the point of view, it may come from your archetype, or you might surprise yourself. But that is something I would test, because that will definitely play a role in your success formula. The sixth component of your jackpot recipe success formula, God, this name is just getting longer every single time, but this is your personal points of difference. I've talked about this in many videos before, but this is something that is really important. This is your unique selling point. This is the part that takes the most bravery. This is the part that takes the most courage. Figuring out what is uniquely different about you and being courageous enough to bring it to the forefront of your content. Yes, fully exposing yourself, your authentic self, for critique, for hate. I know this is the part that is like the hardest part of this whole entire formula, but telling your story vulnerably, bringing your passions, hobbies, and interests, talking about your opinions and the things that you care about, this is really going to be a big part of your success formula. For example, let's look at Alex Earl. Alex Earl is a pretty girl. She creates content, day in the life content, get ready with me content. She is absolutely speaking to women of a specific age, interested in a certain type of lifestyle. Now, one thing that was a personal point of difference for Alex is her opening and vulnerability of her sharing her struggles with her skin. Some of her biggest, most successful videos, the ones that really helped her to blow up, was get ready with me content, particularly ones where she did focus on her vulnerability and her insecurity with her journey with her skin. And so the things about you within your story or within your life that are so uniquely you, that even with the combination of all these other things we're speaking about, these are the things that kind of like make it super, super, super exclusively you. When you can have courage to bring those to the table, that is going to be a big part of this formula. I know for me, my lifestyle elements, including things like my style and my hobbies, like so many people have not only watched my content, but paid me thousands of dollars for mentorship and consulting and said to me things like, Erin, I hired you because you do motocross, or I hired you because you're interested in like going to festivals and you dance on Instagram, and I hired you because of all the different interests and hobbies that you have. I cannot even tell you how many times style, music, hobbies has been a reason that somebody has chosen to work with me or chosen to watch my content. And so these are my personal points of difference. Another part of figuring out your success formula, your jackpot recipe, is figuring out your creative process. Now, this is another thing that I teach inside of my program, Influential AF Academy. But if you are more of a type A creator, meaning that your creative process, your best ideas come through a more logical workflow, that is what you have to figure out. Or some of you actually get your best ideas from, let's say, downloads from the universe. You're a type B creator, meaning that it is like the sparks of inspiration and you taking very fast action on your sparks of inspiration that are going to help you blow up online, because there are creators with mega success on both sides of this spectrum. There are people who are super analytical and methodical in their approach to creating content, and there are people who they literally won't create anything unless it feels like divine intervention from the universe. And so figuring out where your best ideas come from, figuring out the way that is going to be most creative for you. Some people do it through habit, practice, discipline, workflow, systems, and some people do it through going out and living their life. Like, I know for me, the second that I try to like analytically find an idea for a piece of content, it's gonna flop. I know hands down that if I literally try to think my way towards creating an Instagram reel, it's going to flop. Whereas when I just have a whole bank of footage of me living my life and doing my hobbies with the aesthetic as a relationship creator and stories to tell, but I'm, let's say, on the treadmill, out for a walk, doing something, and an idea drops within me and I can essentially put all of these pieces of the puzzle together, that content is absolutely going to do well. I can almost feel it before it happens. Either way, your creative process and the type of creator you are and how your content actually comes to life is a really important part of this process. So I just want to reiterate what these 7 steps are. First is you need to figure out the type of content that is in most alignment with your natural skills and personality. Figure out what your creator archetype is. I have a quiz in the description. You can absolutely go do that quiz. It only takes a few minutes and you will be presented with your creator archetype for you to go and test. The next part of it is the platform you're creating on. The next part of it is who you're speaking to and what you're speaking about, the people and the topics that are going to be most resonant, most in alignment, what you're here to do if you want to go the astrology path, the way that it looks, your brand vibe, your brand aesthetic, the point of view in which you're speaking from. Who is the hero in your content story? Your personal points of difference. What is that unique magic that only you can bring to the table because it is something that you truly have witnessed, experienced in your life? And then your creative process, how your best ideas actually get formulated into content. But I will say, honestly, the most important part of all of this, of becoming a megastar, blowing up on social media, becoming as successful as Mr. Beast, Alex Yo, or anyone that you admire is, and I know you're going to hate me for this because it's almost so simple, but trust me, it's the most difficult part of all of this, even for myself, is believing that it's possible, believing that it's safe to do so. The mindset behind massive visibility. If you are afraid of being seen in a big way, or you don't believe that you are deserving, worthy, or it's possible that you can be seen in a big way, you can have the perfect formula. You can tick off every single one of these. You can have your jackpot strategy sitting right there, like the strategy, the Alex Earl strategy, the strategy that is going to make you blow up. If you do not have that one thing in check, none of the rest of it matters. It really doesn't. If you are not fully believing that you are capable and that it's possible for you to be successful, nothing else matters. If you do not feel safe to be successful, you will sabotage. And so out of all of these things, one of the most important things is that you are conditioning yourself for the kind of social media fame that you desire to have. All right, that is it from me. A bit of a different video, as I feel like I finish all of my videos saying, but you know what? I'm an Aquarius rising, so I just like to be different. And I like to teach these, relatively well-known things, but from a different angle, from a different perspective, to hopefully give you the wake-up call and the information that you need to go out there and make your dreams happen. So thank you so much. I really hope that you love this Becoming Influential AF series, obviously in alignment with the name of my program, Influential AF Academy. If you did want to learn more about becoming influential, building a dedicated following, and getting paid to be you, then I'll also leave the information for that program in the description below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.